I was planted in the darkness. I was planted in the darkness. Join me if you like. I was planted in the darkness. 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 I feel the dark. It brings me life. I feel the dark. It brings me life. I can grow in the darkness. 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 I feel the dark. It brings me life. I feel the dark. It brings me life.
Next hymn, Come With Me, out of Sing Out Love hymnal, our online hymnal. When it's dark, Okay, here we go. Please remain standing and join me in the words of found on our screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its call. Let this be our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life journey, you are welcome here. Wherever you are, whomever you are, wherever you are on your life journey, you are welcome here. I'm Michael Leuchtenberger, and I get to serve as the settled minister of this caring, curious, and ever-evolving congregation. It is good to be here. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life journey, you are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Please be seated.
Welcome to worship. So good to be with you this morning in person and online. My name is Dory LeCount, and I serve as the Family Engagement Coordinator of this music-loving and children-embracing congregation.
What is that?
Music-loving, children-embracing congregation. We are here to support each other on our own and our shared spiritual journeys, centered in love, compassion, curiosity, courage, and joy. I'm especially happy to welcome first-time and returning visitors. If you are a visitor, we hope you will find us a community eager to welcome you and respectful of the path which has brought you here this morning. Anyone wearing a colorful stole is glad to answer any questions that you may have. There is written information in the pew folders and at the visitors table for you to take. For our online participants, it would be wonderful if you introduced yourself on the chat so we know you are here with us. Our church buildings are located on the traditional homelands of the Pennacook Abenaki people, past and present. We acknowledge and honor with gratitude the land and the people who have stewarded it for generations.
For a complete listing of church events and news, check out our weekly e-bulletin or copy of Parish Notes, our monthly newsletter. Here are a few highlights. Our offerings right after the service include a sermon dialogue with me in the parlor and on Zoom on today's sermon topic, and a contemplative practice session with Jean Ann Whittington in the chapel and on Zoom. And then there's also the continuation of our Anxious Generation book discussion group in the Ken Thomas room with Karen Cox. Kids ages 5 and up are encouraged to join our Young Explorers program, and younger kids are welcome to stay in our Rainbow Room nursery. And then at 12:30, all are invited to our free community luncheon in Fellowship Hall, hosted this week by the 15 people who became new members last Sunday. Yay, new members. Way to step right in. There are whiteboards in the parlor to join the Christmas Eve Dream Team. There is a job for everyone, so if you're around Christmas Eve and would like to help out a little bit, please do. And tonight at 7 o'clock, right here in the sanctuary, is our Yule/Winter Solstice service. It's also on live stream if you do not dare to venture out. Our Tuesday welcome table dinner will not be served for the next 2 weeks. The cook will be resting. For those of you who don't know, I am the cook. That's why this is sort of a self-referential thing here. Back on January 6th. On Wednesday, we'd love to see you for our either the 5 p.m. service of Christmas Eve carols, candles, and stories, for our no rehearsal pageant. It promises to be never the same as last year. And then at 6:15, our community dinner, a free and open to all. Or then at 9 o'clock for a Christmas Eve music and reflection, more of a calmer sort of service. Yes, leave it at that. Finally, our next Exploring membership group is starting on Wednesday, January 21st at 6 p.m. There will be 3 additional sessions, each on a Wednesday night at 6 p.m. For more info and the link to register, you can find that in the e-bulletin, or talk to Lorraine Ellis right there. She's our... And of course, it's on our website. Come on down if you're lighting the chalice today. Each week, we light our chalice to set this time apart and to mark it as sacred. If you're at home and you have a candle or chalice ready, I invite you to light it now as Riley lights our chalice here in the sanctuary.
Show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, rise up,
One expression of hope in the face of violent betrayal are the words found on the walls of an underground tunnel in Cologne, Germany in 1945. A tunnel used by Jews and others to escape detection by the German Gestapo. The lyrics of our anthem deviate slightly from the original and yet serve as a reminder of the power of holding on to hope even in the face of terrible odds.
Please repeat after me. It's a blessing to be.
It is a blessing to be.
It is a blessing to be here.
It is a blessing to be here.
It is a blessing to be here now.
It is a blessing to be here now.
It is a blessing to be here now together.
The Christian tradition today celebrates the fourth Sunday of Advent, the final Sunday before Christmas. Advent arrives at a particular moment in the natural year, and that timing is no coincidence. It comes as the days grow shorter, as darkness arrives earlier each afternoon, as the earth tilts away from the sun and we feel the weight of winter settling in. Advent does not deny this darkness. It does not rush past it. Instead, Advent meets us exactly where we are, in the deepening night. At its heart, Advent is a season of waiting, not frantic waiting, not impatient striving, but attentive, hopeful, honest waiting. The kind that knows something is coming even when it cannot yet be seen. One of Advent's most profound teachings is this: light does not appear all at once. Each week, only one candle is lit, and then another, and then another. In a culture that urges us to skip ahead to celebration, Advent slows us down and says, stay, wait, light the next candle, trust the rhythm. Darkness and light are not enemies in Advent, or in Hanukkah for that matter. They're partners in a sacred cycle. And Advent reminds us year after year that even when the nights are long, the turning has already begun. The light is coming, quietly, faithfully, one small flame at a time. Spiritually, Advent brings to mind that darkness is not a failure of faith or of hope. Instead, darkness is often the context in which hope is born. So please rise in body or spirit as we sing number 225 in our gray hymnals, O Come, Emmanuel, a carol written just for Advent.
O come, and with your captive children come. If not through all exiles here, and to the aching heart with cheer, rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come. As long
I would love to invite all the young or young at heart to come forward for a time for our ages with Dory up front here, the rebirth of the sun. Come on forward. Join us right here.
We've got one.
All right, anyone else joining?
I know there's more. Today, or this weekend, among many things, it is the winter solstice. And so let me tell you a story about when the sun was born again. It was the middle of winter, and the sun had grown very, 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 very tired and very, 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 very old. All year long, the sun had worked hard, rising and setting day after day after day after day after day. All year, the sun's gravity held the earth and the moon and all of the other planets as they traveled around and around and around. The poor sun was so dizzy just from watching. Now, in the middle of the cold, dark days, the sun could barely make it up in the morning. And after a short time, really needed to sleep again. So, the days grew shorter, and the days grew shorter, and the sun grew more tired and older and weaker. And the nights grew longer. Night saw what was happening to the sun and felt very sorry. "Come to my arms and rest," Night said to the sun. "After all, I am your mother. It was from me which you were born, and it is back to me which you will return when all is done. Let me hold you now." So Night wrapped her great arms around the sun so that it could rest, and it became very dark. And the night was long indeed. Children all over the earth began noticing, "Why does the darkness go on for so long?" they asked. "The sun is very tired," the old one said. "But maybe if you say thank you for all the things that the sun does for us, the light may return in the morning." The children thought about it. They thought about all of the things the sun gave them. What are some things the sun gives to the children of earth? Gives to the people and the plants and the animals? What are some things they thank the sun for? Yeah, Ben. The sun makes the plants grow. The children said, "Thank you, sun, for making the plants grow." The sun makes us see in the dark. Yeah, the sun makes us see in the dark. The sun is the only reason we can see. The children said, "Thank you, sun, for the light, so that we can see in the dark." What else did they thank the sun for? Say that again. Heat. Thank you for the heat and the warmth on our skin and our bodies when we are cold. And the children went on, thanking the sun for its warmth, for providing food, light, guidance, joy, happiness. And even in the darkness, they felt warm. "Thank you for growing the lettuce and the corn and the tomatoes and the wheat," they said. "Thank you for growing the trees and the forests and the seaweed in the oceans and the krill for the whales to eat." Every time a child said thank you, the sun began to get a little warmer and a little brighter. Wrapped safely in the arms of its mother night, the sun began
to grow warmer and stronger and brighter. Eventually, the children needed to go to bed. The old ones gave them candles to catch the sparks of the sun as it began to return. Put your candles in a safe place, they said, and let it keep vigil for you as you sleep. For all fire is a spark of the sun. So they did. And the sun, peeping out from between night's arms, saw all of the lights of all the children around the earth. And it grew warmer and brighter and younger. Early in the morning, the old ones woke the children, and together they climbed to the top of the highest hill and faced the east where the sun would rise. They sang songs in the sun and ran around to stay warm. They waited. And as they watched, the dark sky began to go from black to indigo to blue. And slowly the light grew. A golden glow crept over the horizon. Night opened her great arms, and in a burst of brightness, the sun appeared new and strong and shining all over the land. For in the long night, in the thanks of the children, the sun had rested well. In the darkness, the children's songs and thanks had strengthened and renewed the sun. The sun was born out of night once more. Everybody cheered, and all of the children jumped up and down. The sun had returned. The sun is reborn. Night has given us light once again. They danced and sang to celebrate the birth of a new day. And then they went home for breakfast.
Please, if you're up front here, if you can stand up. The rest is comfortably seated. And if we can sing our children's blessing.
May our minds be open to new learning. May our lips bring truth into the world. May our hearts know love and our hands do the work of justice as we go our way in peace. As we go our way in peace. May our minds be open to new learning. May our lips bring truth into the world. May our hearts know love and our hands do the work of justice as we go our way in peace. As we go our way in peace.
We now turn to the joys and the sorrows we carry individually and as a community. Will you take a breath with me? As we surrender to this moment, let us notice our body resting, grounded, supported by the earth. As the piano begins to play, you're invited to come forward, light a candle or place a stone at the table to your right, or add a note to the Holding Our Grief wheel. And if you wish, come to the microphone, tell us your name, and share briefly from your heart so the congregation can hold you in love.
I'm Anna. I have a really big joy. On Friday, I took a 170 question multiple choice social work licensing test, and I passed.
I'm Mary Ober, and thank you to all who purchased some of the African aprons and napkins last week. We did reach the $500, and I have some videos, and some pictures scrolling this week to thank you. The mothers are ecstatic. The children are enrolled in school already as of Friday, and this week we have to just. There are 25 children found not to have their vaccinations yet, so that's another $500 goal today. Thank you. Thank
you. My name is Susan, and I have a joy to share. Our family has gone from a place of darkness into light. About a year and a half ago, our very healthy, cross-fitting, participating son had a medical emergency and was in urgent care for 5 days. And after tests and biopsies, was diagnosed with stage 3 kidney disease. If you know nothing about that, stage 4 is when you're on dialysis for the rest of your life. So he was at stage 3. So the process then begins for a donor. Last week, we found out that they have found a suitable donor for him, and that donor is his wife.
My name is Tondi McGowan, and I'm really glad to be back as a member now. Last week, listening to Michael's sermon, I was weeping because the woman he was talking about has been a longtime dear friend of mine. Today, I'm so happy to have the light, talking about the light coming, and it made me think I have to take her a candle and light it for her.
I'm Ellen, and I've been a member of this church for a while, but for the last year or so I've been living in Germany with my husband. So it is such a joy to be back here. I hope all of you guys appreciate this place as much as I do. They don't have Unitarian Universalism in Germany, so this has been such a blessing to be back. The place is so vibrant. And I have a sorrow or a concern that we're back here for several weeks to help my brother-in-law move into assisted living because he has lost his short-term memory and he's starting to show the signs of dementia. So we have successfully moved him, but it has been way more emotionally difficult than I thought it would be. And so just send him your prayers or whatever you send.
December 24th, which is this Wednesday, would have been Brian and I's 30th wedding anniversary. So, thinking of him.
Now invite Donna to light one final candle on behalf of those who are not with us today or who chose to remain seated. Whether your joys or sorrows have been named or remain in the silence of your heart, know that you are not alone. May we hold our earth in our hearts with joy in her nature, in awe of her majesty, power, and resilience, taking responsibility for the hurts that we have caused her. Will you take another breath with me? This week, we hold in love the family of Preston Tinsley and Rob Yeager. Please join me now in our musical meditation, a musical prayer, Spirit of Life, number 123 in our gray hymnals. Spirit of life, come to me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion, blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice, whose holy ghost wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, May it be so, and amen. As many of you know, Heidi Page, a congregant and former staff member. Are you here today, Heidi? Oh, right there. Okay, yes. Has been riding an emotional roller coaster as she faces the impending loss of her son, Christian. Heidi emailed me earlier this month to share a most amazing and beautiful poem written by her daughter, Erin. She feels this is a perfect explanation of what her family and so many others are going through during the holidays. We will also publish the poem in our January parish notes. The Arts of Avoiding Grief by Erin Faith Page Brown. I have learned the quiet art of avoiding grief, how to tuck it under my tongue like a dissolving pill, bitter but hidden. How to nod through conversations, hold my breath through the moments that try to crack me open, and pretend the tremor in my chest is just another passing thought. I know what's coming, the slow unraveling, the loss approaching like a storm I can smell before I see. Reality humming low in the background of every day. A truth I acknowledge but don't dare look in the eye. So I move. I keep moving. I go to work. I buy groceries. I sweep the floor. I fold the laundry, tie shoes, sign school papers, say I am fine. Because the world doesn't pause for my heartache. Because if I sit too long, the sadness catches me and I forget how to breathe. I decorate the Christmas for Christmas, string lights across the window, hang stockings like anchors, wrap hope in paper and tape, and try to believe that joy is still allowed in a season that feels too bright for what's happening beneath my ribs. And yet, there are moments when I make myself stop, When I force my body to sit in the darkness, I spend all day out running. I let the grief spill in slow, careful drops, like I'm proving to myself that I can survive the dripping. Because I know this. Denial doesn't save me, and pretending won't protect me. The loss will come, but so will the strength to bear it. And somewhere inside this ache, beneath the fear, under the layers of the busy days and practiced smiles, a small voice whispers, even this will not end you. Even this will shape you, not shatter you. And when the grief finally arrives, when it sits beside me and refuses to move, I will not look away. I will not let myself break and also let myself heal. Because hope isn't loud, it isn't easy, but it is here, a soft, steady truth waiting beneath the pain. I can hold this hurt and still move towards the light. I can lose and still remain. The Dark by Mary Grigiola. Who here has ever used a fitness watch? You know, a Fitbit or some other device that tracks your step? Mostly on this side, that's interesting. Oh no, there's more. All right, we're in. So here's a story of a woman, let's call her Naomi, could be any other name here, who received a fitness watch as a Christmas gift a few years ago. At first, she loved it. The watch counted her steps, measured her heart rate, tracked her workouts. It congratulated her when she moved more and nudged her when she sat for too long. This may sound familiar. Then it started tracking her sleep. Each morning, Naomi would glance at the screen and see the same message: insufficient rest. Night after night, the watch recorded short, fragmented sleep. And over time, Naomi began to notice what the watch already knew. She was tired in ways that coffee couldn't fix. Her thinking felt foggy. Her patience thin. Small problems felt overwhelming. At first, she tried to outsmart the watch. She adjusted the settings. She told herself she'd rest later. She kept pushing. But eventually, something shifted. One evening, instead of scrolling or finishing one more task, she listened to what her body and that quiet little screen had been telling her all along. She turned off the lights early. She let the day end unfinished. The next morning, the watch displayed a new message: well rested. But more importantly, Naomi noticed something else. She felt clearer, kinder, more herself. She later said, I realized the watch wasn't asking me to be more productive. It was asking me to be more human. Every single day, without exception, we practice a sacred rhythm we rarely name. We close our eyes, we lie down, we enter the dark. Sleep, this ordinary, essential act, is not something we do after life is finished for the day. It is something life requires in order to continue. And yet so often we treat sleep as optional, as negotiable, as something to delay or shortcut in the name of productivity, responsibility, or worth. And yes, I'm preaching to myself, very much so. As my kids pointed out when I told them last night, when I picked them up at 2 o'clock from the airport in Logan, that I was preaching on sleep and I wasn't going to get a whole lot of sleep because the plane was delayed, and then anyway, that was a whole different story. But our bodies do know better. Our bodies insist on darkness. They insist on rest. They insist on a daily descent before we can rise again. And in that way, sleep becomes one of our clearest teachers about the deeper rhythm of existence. We do not move from light to light without passing through the dark. Nature has always understood this truth. The earth rests each night. Fields lie fallow in winter. Trees drop their leaves. Seeds disappear into the soil long before they ever reach for the sun. Darkness is not a failure of growth. It is the condition that makes growth possible. And so it is with us. There are seasons in our lives when we are called not to push forwards, but to pull inwards. Not to produce, but to restore. Not to shine, but to rest. Sleep reminds us of this every night. It tells us again and again, you cannot stay awake forever. You cannot remain bright forever. You cannot live without some amount of letting go. And still many of us resist. We resist rest as if it were weakness. We resist darkness as if it were danger. We resist downtime as if it were wasted time. And yet, when we ignore these rhythms, when we deny ourselves sleep, when we refuse the darker seasons of grief, of uncertainty, or stillness, our lives grow brittle, our spirits fray, and hope thins. What if darkness is not something to overcome, but something to honor? What if the path from dark to light is not a straight line, but a cycle, one that asks us to trust that rest and repair and renewal are happening even when we cannot see them? Science tells us something remarkable. Right? Our bodies are not random collections of needs and impulses. They are rhythmic. Each of us carries within us an internal clock, a circadian rhythm, a roughly 24-hour cycle that governs when we feel alert, when we feel hungry, when we release hormones, when we repair cells, when we sleep, and when we wake. This rhythm is ancient. It evolved long before electric lights, before alarm clocks, before night shifts, or glowing screens. It is turned to the rising and setting of the sun. Light signals wakefulness, and darkness signals restoration. When night comes, our bodies release melatonin, slow the heart rate, lower body temperature, and shift from doing to repairing. During sleep, memories are sorted, emotions are processed, immune systems strengthened, and cells heal. In other words, the dark is not inactive. The dark is busy doing the work the light cannot do. And here's where science gently opens the door to spiritual wisdom. Because what is true in our biology often mirrors what is true in our souls. Require darkness to heal and reset, so too do our inner lives. We need seasons when we are not producing, not deciding, not shining. Seasons when we're simply being, resting, integrating, letting meaning settle. When we ignore these rhythms, when we push past exhaustion, deny grief, rush healing, or treat rest as indulgence, science shows us the cost, right? Burnout, anxiety, depression, weakened immunity, distorted thinking. But spiritually, the cost is even deeper. We confuse constant motion with purpose. We forget how to listen. We lose our sense of meaning. Circadian rhythms teach us that life is cyclical, not linear. There's a time to act, and there's a time to rest. A time to speak, and a time to be quiet. A time to engage, yes, and a time to withdraw. A time to shine and a time to soften. This rhythm isn't laziness, it is wisdom. And perhaps this is why so many spiritual traditions speak of darkness not as evil, but as sacred. The dark night, the womb of creation, the Sabbath rest, the winter season, the cave, the cocoon. These are not places where life stops. They are places where life reorganizes. When we sleep well, we wake clearer. When we honor rest, we regain perspective. When we allow ourselves seasons of darkness, we often return with deeper compassion, truer priorities, and renewed hope. Science might call this regulation and repair. Spiritual language calls it renewal, integration, perhaps grace. Different words, same truth. So when we talk about the journey from dark to light, we're not talking about escaping darkness as quickly as possible. We're talking about trusting the rhythm that carries us through it. The same rhythm that tells our bodies when to sleep and when to wake. The same rhythm that turns winter towards spring. The same rhythm that reminds us we do not have to stay bright to stay alive. Sometimes the most faithful thing we can do is listen. Listen to our bodies, to the seasons, to the quiet signals asking us to rest. Because the light does come back, but it comes back most fully when we have allowed the dark to do its sacred work. Maybe then acknowledge the darkness by naming it without judgment. Darkness might be sorrow, uncertainty, illness, burnout, doubt, exhaustion, grief, or the simple quiet of not knowing what comes next. To stay with that darkness means allowing ourselves to feel what is real, slowing down the compulsion to fix it, noticing our emotions rather than overriding them, and trusting that darkness has its own wisdom. We do not stay in the darkness because suffering is sacred. We stay because honesty is sacred, presence is sacred, awareness, attention, those are sacred. And often the only way forward is through. Darkness is not failure, it is part of the rhythm of being alive. As we observed for Advent or in our Time for All Ages story about the rebirth of the sun, light rarely returns all at once. It returns in moments, often small, subtle, easily missed. The light comes back, perhaps through a conversation we didn't expect. A breath that feels just a little easier than the one before. A memory that warms us instead of breaking us. A gesture of kindness that reminds us we are not alone. A step forward that feels less heavy than yesterday. So often the light's return is anchored in relationship. Someone sits with us, listens to us, or simply stays near. As we explored last Sunday, there is a strong communal aspect to hope. Sometimes I'm strong and can hold the hope for someone else. And sometimes I am exhausted and need someone else to hold the hope for me. Communal hope is built on the idea that we borrow hope when we need it and we lend hope when we can. And sometimes the light doesn't come to us. Instead, we grow towards the light. We turn slowly and gradually until something in us faces a new direction. When daylight returns in winter, the earth doesn't rush. It turns degrees by degrees. And then before we realize it, the morning arrives earlier and the shadows shorten. Our inner seasons move in much the same way. We return gently. We return imperfectly. We return by allowing ourselves to be changed by what we have learned. The return often involves acceptance, and not resignation, but the deep exhale that says, this is my truth now, and I can meet it. It involves compassion for ourselves. Darkness can make us tender. We need gentleness, not judgment. And we return to light through the people who refuse to leave us behind, who make us feel connected. And there are the rituals that steady us. Lighting a candle, singing a familiar hymn, breathing intentionally, walking in nature, writing a prayer or a journal entry, showing up to worship, singing with the choir. Ritual gives us a path home. And light also involves courage, even the smallest acts of courage, like a phone call, a walk, a shower, a prayer, opens a crack in the darkness. Light does not rush. Healing does not obey our calendars. The return is a process. It does take time. And importantly, returning to the light does not mean rejecting the darkness. It means integrating what the darkness has taught us. So how do we maintain hope during the darkness? Because hope in darkness is not cheerful optimism. It is not pretending that everything is fine when it is not. Hope in darkness is quieter, humbler, more durable. Hope and darkness can coexist because when our own flame is too small, we borrow light from the community. I hope that's why some of you are here, to offer and to receive. This is why we gather, so no one's hope must stand alone. Even when we cannot see the light, it still exists. The earth keeps turning, healing keeps unfolding, change keeps happening. The darkness has an ending. And sometimes hope survives simply because we stop trying to force ourselves through our struggle and instead allow ourselves to rest within it. Even in the darkness, we can hold on to moments of beauty. The color of the sky at dusk, the warmth of a mug in our hands, the laugh of a child, the kindness of a stranger. Small beauty is a bridge to hope. And we maintain hope by trusting our own resilience, by remembering other seasons we thought we couldn't survive, and yet somehow we are still here. Darkness has visited us before, and light has returned before. This memory becomes its own kind of hope. Hope grows stronger when we give it a name. I long for peace. I long for a sense of direction. I long for connection. Darkness then is not the enemy of hope. It is the place where hope goes to gather strength. And when the light returns, as it always does, we emerge not as the same people who entered the dark, but as people who have been transformed by it. Often softer, perhaps wiser, more compassionate, more resilient, more connected to the holy pulse of life itself. Hence, may we honor the darkness when it comes. May we trust the slow return of light, and may we hold on to hope, quiet, steady, shared, until we feel the warmth of morning once again. May it be so. Amen and Ashe. Thank you for your generous support of last week's outreach offering to support fellowship housing. Today's community plate will support the Equality Health Center, and the Fleischman family is offering to match dollar for dollar any contribution you will be making today. So I encourage you to consider an even larger donation than maybe you had in mind just a moment ago. So thank you, Rob and Marion, for that. The Equality Health Center is a nonprofit healthcare facility providing inclusive care to people of all genders and sexualities. The center has provided quality, non-judgmental, compassionate care for over 50 years. Their range of services includes annual preventive health exams, abortion care, gender-affirming hormone therapy, behavioral health counseling for adults and teens, free pregnancy testing, treatment for sexually transmitted diseases, and HIV, and free options counseling. Our morning offering will now be gratefully received. May we be transformed by our giving. May the world be transformed by our gifts. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn number 55, Dark of Winter, in our gray hymnals. Dark of winter, soft and still, your quiet calm
surrounds me. Let my thoughts go where they will, ease my mind profoundly, and then my soul will sing a song, a blessed song of love eternal. Gentle darkness, soft and still, bring a quiet to me. Darkness soothes my weary eyes, that I may see more clearly. When my heart with sorrow cries, comfort and caress me, and then my soul may hear a voice, a still small voice of love eternal. Darkness, when my fears arise, let your peace flow through me.
Go out into this world in peace. Honor one another. Listen with an open heart. Stay curious. Have courage. Be kind. Embrace the mystery. Welcome awe. And live always the way of love. I now invite you to extinguish your chalice at home. How about Ashley? Can you extinguish our chalice here? Ashley extinguishes our chalice here in the sanctuary. Please join me in reading aloud the words on our screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of this faith we share. The warmth of community, or the fire of commitment, these we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now please join me in singing our unison benediction, and if you're comfortable joining hands or elbows, go ahead and reach out, and if not, reach out with your heart to all of us worshiping with you, knowing that you are not alone.
you.